Hi, and welcome to Judy Kerr's Acting is Everything. We're always talking about taking care of the actors and how we can take care of ourselves. And one of the most important companies that we have in Los Angeles is the Actors Network. And they really help actors market themselves. They help them understand what is going on in the business for actors. And in my book, Acting is Everything, I have featured them for, I think this is the 11th edition, and I think it's been about 10 years, 12 years since they've been in the book, and I'm a big fan. And so we have with us Kevin E. West, who is the founder of Actors Network, and Paulo, say your name.
Andrés.
Andrés. I always say Andrés. He has a little twist to it. Who is VP of the Actors Network. And today we're going to be talking about certainly all the services and things that go on in their company, but we're going to be talking about scams, because through the actors who work with them and their long time in the business, they certainly understand and know and have seen so many of these scams. So, Kevin, first tell me, like, what do you take on green actors, or do they have to be fully experienced? Or I always say, you know, if you're coming to Los Angeles, go to the free orientation and find out what's going on in Los Angeles. But
well, I mean, the Actors Network, because it's a business information place for performers, certainly is not predicated on what your resume is, be it the resume or years of experience in LA or other cities. It is open to anyone, because
so you don't have to audition?
Not at all. No. It's a business information resource organization that you know, that's a membership organization, and it has about 40 or 50 different benefits to it. And considering that this is a subjective profession, and actor A could be in this place in their life when they finally get to Hollywood, or actor B could be in this place, or somebody could have been in Hollywood for 10 years and had 2 children and now they're getting back into the business. I mean, it's a place for someone who's got any level of experience from day 1 to year 10. It really depends on how they go about taking the approach and the information that we provide along with the resources and sort of utilize it for their own individual career.
And so, and besides that, of course, you're a working actor. You said you just shot a commercial. What was the
Top Flight spot with Kenny Mayne. Kenny Mayne is the well-known ESPN anchor for SportsCenter, and he's the spokesperson for Top Flight, golf balls and golf equipment. And they're always very funny and very tongue-in-cheek and very smart aleck.
Okay.
And
you can pull that off.
I know, it's a shocker. It was typecasting, yeah. I played golf in college, and they don't always necessarily hire you because of that, but I think in this particular instance, being fairly decent at the game is something they wanted in this spot for what they're selling. So it was fun, because it's crazy right now commercially. It's January typically is a pretty busy time of the year commercially. So
yeah, great. And Paulo, you're besides the Actors Network, you manage actors.
Yes.
So how do you decide who to take on for your management? What?
Well, I mean, that's a great question. There's really no one answer to that. I mean, bottom line, it's going to be the actor that's going to make money. We're going to go back to the business side of it. It's going to be actors that I know that you feel strongly about, that you as a manager, as I as a manager go, you know what, I think there's not only a raw talent to that, there's a marketability to that, but is it going to make money? And that's really the nuts and bolts of it. I mean, I guess ethereally I could tell you it's got to be somebody I love and want to work with and who has a certain marketability and who's exceedingly talented. But bottom line, with any company, what I look for is their ability to make money off the individual, which equals success for that client. So really and truly, that's what it is. And that's why what an actor who might not get a manager they want is not necessarily rejection, because you really want to be with a manager who sees your success, who sees the potential of it. You don't want to be with a manager who merely is good to have on a resume or whatever. Right. So you really kind of have to find that. And that's kind of found through personality and experience and a good resume, referrals, bumping on the street. I I'll fly. I go to these little, talent conferences across the nation to seek out talent.
Well,
Here.
speaking right off the bat about scams, what kind of
Yeah.
management scams have you run into?
It's interesting. I've had to be ultra sensitive about presenting myself in a way that is not perceived as a scam because there are so many scams out there. And so you almost have
And
to
what would a scam look like for?
A real clear example, and this is what we do at the Actors Network, is kind of providing tools and information to newer actors in LA, and certainly actors from other markets who don't get it, with just vital information that makes them aware of what is out there. And the clearest and perfect example, which is it still exists, is the idea of paying money for representation. And you think that would have gone out in the 70s, and it hasn't. There are actors still out there. Representation, whether it's managers or agents, at all levels, only get paid based on commission. So if the actor makes money, we make money. And that's union and non-union. That's not even a guild thing. And anybody who walks up and says, you pay me X dollars, from $10 to $1,000 a month, it doesn't matter, is a scam. You need to go away from that. And they try to guise it with things like, we'll pay for my mailings and my courier and my whatever, and office expenses, and that's your payment to me. It's really not coming in my pocket, it's paying my office expenses. Well, that's a scam. That we get paid.
That's a scam.
That's a scam.
And
so that's kind of the oldest one. I mean, outside of, their...
Yeah.
And now they've gotten more creative in the last 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 years since the commercial strike of 2000, in which now you have a lot of managers, because again, that particular profession is not really regulated almost at all by certainly the state of California or the U.S. government, certainly not within Hollywood. But it's become even more creative to go, well, I'm a manager and I'm considering representing you, but in the meantime, what I'm going to be, because of all of my years of experience as a manager, I have this little consultant agreement that I'm going to have you sign and pay me as a consultant to you. So you're getting a perceived service that's not about representation, but I'm such a guru as a manager that you'll pay me as a consultant, and if at some point down the road I decide I want to represent you, then we'll cease being a consultant and you'll become my client. Yeah. And again, that's preying on, unfortunately, the sort of desperate hope that the general actor community has sometimes, because it is a difficult profession and it's very subjective. And so there are a lot of people who fall for that. But the most important thing that we could say on this show, as an actor or a representative, and one who does it right, which is Paulo, is that the legitimate people in this profession who are managers do not do that.
Yeah.
And you may, quote unquote, feel better about yourself or say that I have a manager, or as Paulo said, put someone on your resume, but it isn't necessarily getting you any closer to what being a working professional in this city is. And that's unfortunate, because that has really become very rampant in the last 3 or 4 years.
And that goes on all over
every
the
day.
country,
Well,
all over the country, right?
And what's interesting is that, it's so prevalent that there are actors who are not really even seeking representation from me, or we've decided that they're not ready for the company or whatever, and ask me, can I pay you for guidance?
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, what?
Oh my
so it's almost like a standard that's now being accepted, like, okay, I'll just pay somebody. And I'm like, no, I'm a manager. There are life coaches out there. There are people out there who'll do that for you.
And the Actors Network.
Astrologists or whatever you want to go to. But, I'm a manager. I can't take money like that. That's not what I do. So,
and you want to look for an honorable person to represent
but actors are
you.
asking me for it. I mean, it's so like,
that's what I mean.
It's such an accepted practice that I'm going, wow, I didn't think that. I would have never thought of that.
So how do you advise the actors that you work with that say, well,